What's going on, y'all? We're about to check out this video about Gabbie Hanna. I don't know what's been going on. I always hear that she's going crazy. The other day I went to go look her up. Like, let me see what's happening with this Gabbie Hanna chick. I didn't know she was caked up. I don't know. That was like an edited photo. I was like, she was kind of caked up. Were they trying to twerk? Didn't know what she was doing, twerking, but I ain't something. But yeah, that's all I know. And that she's apparently crazy. So let's see what the breakdown is, what's happening with her.
I hate myself. People love that I hate myself. People love that I hate myself. People love that I hate myself. I climbed out of my head and watched myself implode. A thought without a body ought to be the shot to take a load off. My brain is poisoned and I'm searching for the antidote. But every time I find it, my defense is scream, oh no you don't. Whoa.
Okay, I thought that was kind of cringe at first, but then you put a beat behind that, she was spitting. She was doing the Eminem. Lyrical, miracle, spiritual, individual swimming in your swimming pool.
Hey, what's good, y'all? So Gabbie Hanna just had another generational.
That's the guy that hates Caleb Hanna. I've never really watched anything from him besides his videos about D'Angelo Wallace and Caleb Hanna. And he has like a very strong bias against Caleb Hanna. But let's see what this Gabbie Hanna situation is about.
Crash out. But this time it was on her own fans on Patreon. Which I can't even say surprised me because she's willing to crash out on literally anybody. Doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a mom, a grandma, her uncle, cousin. Doesn't matter. She will crash out on you if you give her a reason to. Or if you don't. You don't even have to give her a reason. She'll make up one and then do it anyway. It's like one of her favorite activities. It's almost like a hobby at this point. I'm convinced it's a hobby because she does this every single year. She does it for weeks or months at a time. You never know how long it's going to be. It could be a 2-day crash out, a month-long crash out. She might crash out for the rest of the year. Your bet's as good as any. Anyway, what's particularly interesting about this crash out is not just because it's on her own fans, but it's about fucking Jessie Smiles again, who has not opened her mouth about her.
Said bonk. Y'all crazy. I wasn't saying I was sweating her. I was just caught off guard. You know, like I didn't see that coming in any of the other videos that talked about
years. Jessie has found a way to,
I ain't saying I was interested,
to move on, despite Gabbie being the traitor in this exchange, obviously. And for those of you who aren't super familiar with the situation between them, it goes.
I know you ain't talking about me. Was he not just looking at Anissa? You can't be looking at iDubbbz's husband and get mad when I point out something.
A little bit like this. Jessie Smiles was assaulted by a friend of Gabbie Hanna's. And instead of doing the rational thing, you know, condemning the assaulter, the abuser, she sided with the fucking guy. Gabbie literally decided with somebody who her roommate, which is just disgusting. I mean, I don't even have words to describe just how heinous and horrible that is. Just how anybody would view the situation, which is precisely what's happened. Everyone has viewed the situation that way, that this is just absolutely horrendous and should have never happened. And Gabbie was absolutely in the wrong. But for some reason, she is so addicted, so in love and infatuated with being a victim that she has somehow found a way to turn someone else's story into a victim story for herself, where the person who was assaulted is the narcissistic abuser, which is the exact terminology she used to describe Jessie. And that's what she's arguing in these leaked Patreon DMs. And I say leaked, but they're honestly not leaked because
that's nasty. Yeah, that's super disgusting if that's true.
It's public information. If you go to her Patreon, it's all free access. Nothing's behind a paywall. Anybody can put their little peepers on it and see what kind of nonsense went down. Now, I came across this thanks to Evangelina's video of her talking about it, and then went and found it on.
You say you drunk, you can't be responsible for what you texted. That's hilarious. Well, I'm on that green, but I'm taking all responsibility.
Reddit. Easiest place for me to find it. But before I go into the DMs themselves, I want to provide, some of that context that brought us to this fateful moment that was prophesized by Jessie Smiles, actually. She said it herself. Gabbie Hanna would never stop. In fact, she named an entire video that Gabbie Hanna would never stop. And this followed up after her Gabbie Hanna Needs to Be Stopped video. A couple years later, this one came out. But her prediction was correct. She would never stop talking about Jessie, even though Jessie did nothing wrong. And everybody and their mom agrees that Gabbie is in the wrong.
Scenario. So that's literally the last time I ever spoke to Gabbie Hanna, although she didn't stop talking about me. However, most recently, the thing that has brought me to this point is that Gabbie is doing a series. But not only is she doing a series, she posted a video that apparently isn't part of it that has to do with me and has to do with my rape. And I have repeatedly asked this woman to stop talking about my rape, to stop talking about my trauma, to please leave this out of her narrative of whatever the fuck she wants to talk about with me. Talk about anything you want. Stop talking about that. But this video was so much worse than I ever thought that it could be. I'm going to react to her video and I'm going to show proof that I don't hoard text messages from 2015. Actually, I have my text messages set to delete every year because I want storage on my phone, and who needs text messages from over a year ago? Apparently Gabbie. But I'm going to show emails. I'm going to talk about situations that she has blackmailed me with, because that is what she did. She did blackmail me. I understand a lot of people think that I shouldn't talk about this. I saw a lot of tweets of people being like, Jessie, just ignore this person. Because if there's anything Gabbie's trying to do with her series, it's get attention in any way, shape, or form. Negative, positive, she does not care. And I understand that me doing this video is possibly giving her what she wants. I don't know for sure. Gabbie has used every opportunity that she's ever talked about me to lie in a really, really hurtful way. And so now that she says she has 2 episodes of her series dedicated to me, it's very hard for me to just sit back and be like, it's okay, I'll just see what she says.
So yeah, this is exactly what's happening, right? Gabbie has not given up. She has refused to stop talking about this. Now, she doesn't use the exact terminology, right? That, talking about Jessie Smiles having been assaulted, right? But she keeps referencing this basically, ruining her life, that that Jessie was her narcissistic abuser, that she effectively sent the hate mob after her and just ruined her career and everything, which is so strange because she has videos from her religious grift era talking about how her narcissistic abusers brought her closer to God and she should be thankful. Yet every single day.
She did religious grifting? This is crazy. I'm so out the loop when it comes to this Gabbie Hanna chick. I know bits and pieces here and there, right? And I do remember there was an era where a bunch of people were getting exposed because they went too hard on her and were like milking her for money or whatever. So then she won like a lot of favor back over from that. And then like a year later, people was like, nah, F that, we still hate you. But I don't know enough to know all of this, though. That's crazy.
Day, she sits here and cries, bitches, and moans and makes herself a victim of someone else's story every single day. And it's just so unbelievable. Everybody else has kind of moved on from this, right? Jessie Smiles, if anything, it would have been the hardest for her to do so because, I don't know, she was assaulted by somebody that you decided to be a fucking apologist for. And yet somehow Gabbie is the one who's been really hurt by this to the point where she just can't get over it. She has PTSD and she just needs to keep speaking her truth. What truth? I hear nothing but lies and gaslighting out of Gabbie. It's the only thing she is capable of doing. She has become such a professional victim. Like, there is nobody better at it in the entire game than her. In fact, it's working so damn well that she has herself completely convinced that she is the victim, despite the fact that criticism from everybody else says otherwise. Also, it's not even possible. You weren't the one that was assaulted. You were called out for your terrible behavior, your terrible response, and your gaslighting and your lies, which you absolutely should have been. And that doesn't make you a victim because you're the one who perpetrated these actions that required people to come out and condemn you. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, imagine shooting someone, then being mad at the judge for sentencing your ass. Like, that's not how it works. You did the crime. Now you got to do the time. And what's really interesting is if she had just kind of let this go and moved on with her life and just, let the Christian grift,
That's crazy. But it does seem like, yeah, she brought this back up, and from what I've seen, it was to try to bring some like views to her, like dying. I can't even say dying. Her dead channel, her YouTube channel is done. Oh, it's doing bad over there. It's just like, it's a sad sight to see, actually. Unfortunate. Right, but I don't think this is the proper way. And I think she has like a whole job, right? Like, why even come on here and do that? It's weird. Super weird.
Engulf everything about her and actually move on from this like she had said she would, then she'd be much better off right now. She wouldn't constantly crying, bitching, and moaning about things that happened years ago, which again, it's her own fault. But yet she won't allow herself to grow and move on, which is it's just so immature. And Gabbie absolutely needs to do better. Now, I want to bring your attention over to these chats from her Patreon. And let me just tell you, you might want to get yourself a bucket of popcorn, maybe some pizza, I don't know, your favorite snack, something, because do I have some entertainment for you today? Gabbie Hanna Kroner. Like, you are part of this problem. Why are you here bringing her up? I haven't said her name in 2 weeks? Oh, wow. You've really gone 2 weeks without talking about her. Really impressive stuff. Also, we're going to find out quickly that wasn't the truth. None of my content has been about her, but here you are. People like you, Isabel, are the reason this convo is still going. She can't even take responsibility for prolonging her own crash out. She has to blame other people now for prolonging her own crash out. I mean, can this get any more ridiculous? Gabbie, I brought her up because you did. Please scroll upwards. I'm gonna make my picture a little bit bigger so I got a little bit of space up there. Yeah, I'm kind of taking up too much space now. That should do. Gabbie responds, you came in here about Trisha, which is all the same to me. Trisha, Jesse, the drama channels, they are one evil mutant who literally for years had group chats about how they were planning to attack me that day in unison. LMAO.
Damn.
Katie responds, as a person who had trouble letting things go, I can tell you that sometimes talking about it helps you move past it. Sometimes you need to do this repeatedly. I have so much stuff I need to let go of from my childhood, some of which I would have sworn I had already let go, but it just sneaks back up on you and latches onto you. I don't, your mind like something.
That's Gabbie saying that? No, that's Katie. I think maybe they should go to seek therapy if it's just that crazy. Real talk. This sounds like a wild combo.
I'm not really sure exactly what it says. It's kind of cut off, and it doesn't show on the next page, so it is what it is. I guess that's not the main discourse. I think what we want to see here is Gabbie's conversation versus poor Isabel here, who is just absolutely taking the brunt of Gabbie Hanna's digital crash out. But what's ignored is the fact that many years later, despite the fact that we have years of conversations proving that we had moved on from whatever we had between us, she histrionically came out with this video that I need to be stopped. And with each response, she got more and more emotional and hysterical about it, adding more and more details, lying more and more to explain away the glaring evidence that she was obviously just building a drama channel career. And then it was, you can't respond because she's pregnant. That's harassment. You're hurting a pregnant woman. And then it was, she just had a baby. You can't respond. You're harassing a new mother while she's with her newborn. By the way, this is what she's talking about from the I need to be stopped video she's referencing.
You and Jesse weren't friends anymore. I thought you guys were best friends, and so does everyone else. That's a huge chunk. So Gabbie says, send me a screenshot. What's the date? And no, I never would publicly support him. And this is where we start getting horrendous. She says, I told him verbatim when he reached out after what Jesse did to me. I got a call from an unknown number and answered it, and it was him. She's talking about the man who raped me. And he said, I heard what happened and I want to apologize for being so unkind to you in the past. And I said, thanks for the apology. But just so you know, I'd never side with you or bash Jessie publicly, regardless of what she did. But the shit she did was so nasty that Curtis heard about it. I don't even know how to express what I felt when I saw this message. This was one of the most disgusting parts of all these messages to me. Number one, you lied. He didn't call you. You hung out with Curtis's friends. Curtis was there. This is what you told me. He pulled you to the side and he told you that. He told you, I'm so sorry I was mean to you. I can't believe what Jesse did to you, trying to get on your side. That part's true, but it happened in person. And the reason why I remember it happened in person is because you told me, I'm getting like really worked up and really fucking annoyed. I'm sorry. Gabbie told me when I communicated to her, this was after we had stopped being friends. But even though we had stopped being friends, one of the things that I believe you never do, even if you hate someone now, is hang out with their rapist and his friends. So I was hurt and I told Gabbie, this is fucked up. Like, I'm really hurt. And she defended herself when all of this happened. And she said, I was hanging out with his friends. I wasn't hanging out with him. He just so happened to be there and he pulled me to the side. I didn't intend to talk to him, whatever. And I communicated with her and told her how much that hurt me. And that was the point where she told me something like I will literally never fucking forget, because I cannot believe like till this day that she would say something like this. She said, Jesse, Curtis's friends didn't you. What the fuck do I say to that? Like, wow. I don't know.
Just sickening. I mean, to lie to everybody else, and then she told the truth to Jesse.
Oh, that sounds pretty crazy. This sounds like a lot. Sounds like a lot that should never have been on the internet. It sounds like a lot that should have probably been spoken to like a therapist about. Just, it sounds like a whole lot.
But the truth was just as bad. Oh, I wasn't hanging out with him. I was just hanging out with his friends. His friends didn't rape you. Like, that is just disgusting, dude. Like, there's no world where that is a viable, acceptable excuse. And Gabbie's over here just saying, oh, Jesse's just such a liar. She's just slandering my name. I didn't do any of those things that she said I did. When there's literal proof of her having told these things to Jesse, and that her defense of herself was even worse than the action itself of hanging out with him and his fucking friends. So obviously she's completely off her gourd here by trying to pretend that Jesse is the real villain here for exposing what you did to her. Like, it doesn't make any sense, obviously. Now let's just get back to the screenshots. Isabel responds, but she moved on years ago from that, and you can move on too, following the same logic you just commented. And you would think, oh wait, where's my picture, guys? Hold on one second. You would think that would convince her, coming from her own fans, to be like, you know what, you're right. I should move on, right? I mean, she's gotten really engulfed in her religious grift, and obviously the Bible, says to forgive. And she says that she's forgiven them, but these texts and this bitterness, this everlasting loathing towards Jesse and the drama channels and Trisha shows and proves that she hasn't forgiven anyone.
Now, drama channels on one particular incident did wild out. I gotta call a spade a spade. Drama channels did mess up, which is probably why she thinks like that she's like the ultimate victim, because a lot of people who started defending her years after the fact. I forgot who it was, but it was like groups of content creators that were coming out and exposing a lot of the drama channels for going after her over this one incident because they overlooked certain details and were kind of like milking the whole Gabbie Hanna's evil thing. So maybe because of that level of defense, now Gabbie is on some like, hey, I didn't do nothing wrong type ish. I think a therapist is probably who she should be talking to instead of like the internet about these issues. Like, yeah, you do got to let some things go, bro, or it's going to consume you. It's going to be like your end all be all, and that's not what's best for the person, the individual, right? I got people that wronged me. I'm not going to talk about it for the rest of my life. It's what it is.
Even though, again, she brought this upon herself. So if anything, she should be worried about people forgiving her, and, her forgiving them makes almost no sense, except maybe like Trisha, because she did also do some pretty heinous things to Gabbie, but it is what it is. Anyway, she responds, because Jesse Smiles is my abuser, period, point blank. Just like she was compelled to speak publicly about her abuse, I'm compelled to speak about mine, and mine happened in the public eye at her hands Hers was leaked by a TMZ article at her hands. Nothing about this is anything I would have wanted to be a public spectacle. Elric responds, people really don't understand that you can be a victim of abuse as well as an abuser. Yeah, exactly. If she understood that, we wouldn't be here right now. Because my abuser moved her abuse from BTS to front and center in the public eye to build a drama channel, it makes perfect sense that I would want to talk about my story of abuse for the people in my phone contacts and my community that are being served videos about me because of Trisha and Jessie in 2026. Jessie didn't care that I confided in her about my own rape when she did this. And looks like you have a rare Gabbie Hanna apologist. She 100% knew what she was doing, and she didn't act alone either. Exposing Gabbie for being a really, really shitty friend at the absolute best. I mean, at this point, all the apologists are just swarming in. It seems like jealousy, hatred, fear, envy. A lot of things, unfortunately, you can tell a lot of people are governed by evil spirits. Stop enabling her religious psychosis. Come on, dude. Gabbie then says, the way Jessie Smalls put out her video on the day of my music video release, I was advertising heavily. The way she had to put out another video with my name in her thumbnail the day I put out my Bad Karma EP. I mean, I honestly, this is the first time hearing about this. I'm sure some of you probably knew this happened, but I feel like this is one of those things that's neither here nor there. Even if she did try to suckle some clout off of your name or whatever, like, I mean, that's the least she should be able to get from you after what you did. Like, you literally sided with her abuser. Like, you.
I'm gonna disagree with that. The fuck are we talking about here? Clout should be the last thing that this person's thinking about. Like, what? You know, that's pretty jacked up. It's almost somewhere. That's the least you. Are you insane? What the what? That sounds crazy. So you think someone that got done dirty, right, that bad, is gonna go, you know what? The least you could do is give me some clout. What's wrong with you? That's insane. Am I crazy? I don't know. I think that's odd. That's more so a sign that clout is the main objective, right? And all that you really want. So yeah, no, I'm gonna have to disagree with him on that. That sounds horrible, bro. The least you could do, like, what?
Yeah, you're such a terrible friend. At the absolute best. This person basically saying that they remember that she was being cryptic, and they're literally just hyping her up right now. They're satiating her need for victimhood, enabling it like immensely right now. And I'm gonna kind of skip over it. Gabbie then says, Jessie Smiles wanted me dead because she has a secret that she doesn't want me to share, and I haven't. I said in one of my videos that I wouldn't. Same with Trisha. I had info she didn't want me to share, and I said I wouldn't, but she had to destroy me anyway. These people, make no mistake, wanted me dead and gone. Okay. I have to chime in here. Because firstly, what secret do you have on Jessie? I really doubt you have anything, because you can't keep your fucking mouth closed. If you had anything on Jessie, you absolutely would have said it, because you never keep your word about anything. Just how you said you wouldn't talk about Jessie. You wouldn't talk about, what happened to her or anything like that. And yet here you are still doing it. And then with Trisha, the secret there was her secret STD that didn't actually exist, which you did talk about anyway. So like, you didn't even really keep that a secret either. And it wasn't anything to begin with. So like, what are you even saying here? This is completely worthless. Now, I severely doubt that any of these people wanted you dead. Maybe that was true in your worldview, but I seriously doubt it. I think if anything, Jessie just wanted you to maybe take some responsibility, stop dragging her name through the mud, and maybe not be an apologist for a rapist. Is that too crazy? Is that a hot take? Boiling above 212 degrees? I don't know. I don't think so. I would like to believe that's not a hot take, but it definitely would be to Gabbie. And now I'm sure if she comes across one of my videos, I'm just going to get grouped in with the rest of the drama channel mutant evil spirits, or whatever she called us. Oof, what a title. Didn't expect to get that one. Maybe I'll change my channel name to like Mutant Evil Spirit or something to appease Gabbie Hanna's victimhood,
And this nigga is sassy as a which is his right. I don't. Just you spicy, bro. It's real spicy. Like, do you know Gabbie personally? Was she like a friend of yours? Like a lot of these channels, man, like the way that they cover not just Gabbie but anybody is a little bit like you care too much. Like you really invested with all of these, like, I guess you could say snaps out of damn. I don't know. It just seems very biased. Even though I am seeing some wrong from a plethora of sides in all of these situations involving Gabbie. So I ain't act like Gabbie is innocent, but damn, this nigga, he acting like she bullied him in high school.
Basically make her delusions a reality. Anyway, there's more to read. I know this video is getting a little lengthy, but we're going to kind of speed through the rest of these. Jessie made her motive clear from the start. She wanted me to be stopped. Yeah, for good reason. Ricardo, Simp Pants McGee here. And then they hide behind, I'm just looking out for you while just being toxic. Like, dude, do you even know what happened? Like, how can you sit here and defend this and mean it? Like, it's a joke to me that people think they can actually defend this. For what exactly? What did I need to be stopped from? Telling Jessie that her friends didn't rape her because that was the whole point, crux of the video, right? No, she wanted me to stop being successful. She wanted me to stop being able to function as an artist and creator. And Ricardo, Simp Pants McGee says, in low key, she wanted you to be stopped because she was mad her music career never took off. Meanwhile, you were cheating or charting on iTunes as an indie artist. But let me not even go there because I will get heated. Yeah, can you like suck her farts any harder, man? Like, I don't think you can.
Sound like that's happening from all angles. This seemed crazy, bro. This seems so wild. Especially when there's criminal stuff involved. It seems like this woman was hurt because you were hanging around people that were associated with him, thus forth, maybe even hanging around him, but then using semantics to go, oh, I'm not hanging with him, I'm hanging with his friends. And he might pop up here and there. I think that that's crazy. And it shows that she wasn't really loyal or a friend to this person. And then it seems like they were doing things petty in return, which I would think your safety would be the first concern rather than clout or being petty. But maybe I'm crazy. This just seems like a whole lot of messy, extreme, Degrassi level-ish. And as much as a fan of Degrassi I am, this just seems like a lot. Like, whoa. And nobody would be talking about this if Gabbie didn't just randomly bring this up. Like, you gotta let it go. Let it go like Frozen.
Yeah, I think you've got that quite taken care of. Now, this is the last screenshot. Gabbie was just really, or Ricardo was just really stroking her ego here. And this is where it all ends. Right, Ricardo. Jessie's friends literally tweeted, I can't wait to make a drama channel of all of the publicity. And they did. Oh, the evidence was literally out there. And just a reminder to myself, the reason I brought it up at all is because as soon as I started posting and going viral again, all the viral posts about how I'm psychotic and dangerous start going around because of Jessie, Trisha, and the drama channels. Ooh, Adam McIntyre, you better watch out. You might be on Gabbie's hit list. I've never experienced psychosis. Okay, says everybody.
That's another
experiencing psychosis. I have never been diagnosed with the manic episode. I thought she was, in fact, like diagnosed bipolar, but I don't know. I have only been diagnosed with trauma response. What is a normal human reaction to being abused and gaslighted publicly for a decade? All people like Isabel pop in with Jessie moved on after she slandered you and built a successful career on hateful lies. You need to move on too. Well, I'll tell you what the appropriate response to this is to stop attacking a woman who was sexually assaulted by someone that you decided to be an apologist for. That is a normal human reaction. In fact, a normal human reaction would have never been to side with that person in the first place. Another normal human reaction is to not continue to make yourself the victim of everyone else's story when it's not your position to do so. Another normal human reaction is genuinely to move on with your fucking life, because you made mistakes that you should own up to, take responsibility for, and understand that not everybody is out to get you. It's not, oh, boo-hoo.
This nigga, I get it. I get it. I even agree with some of his points. Yeah, she should move on. I do think that she has to move on. The only reason why she's even getting dogged right now by YouTube channels like him, or even covered by channels like me, is because she couldn't let something go where she wasn't really the victim necessarily. Yeah, some shady things might have happened. Right? Like some shady things might have been done and presented a certain way because it became a trend to dislike Gabbie. Right? And that's the way it always goes with any content creator, right? That has like a downfall. It becomes cool to dislike them, maybe even talk about them. So a bunch of people who are close to them might use anything to connect them to evil things, to make them seem like they're horrible and evil. Like Gabbie hanging out with people who is not this person, right? If she's telling the truth and she was hanging out with some people that were friends with him, I do think that that's crazy to say, hey, you can't hang out with people who are friends with this person that I'm accusing of. Like, nigga, they might disconnect from the person too, right? Like, if they find it all out to be true. So I think that's a lot to ask for somebody. But I don't think that the way Gabbie responded or told her the information was probably the most respectful or best way to say that to someone who had that done to them. I think that was like very insensitive, especially if that was your friend. That wasn't a sensitive or empathetic way to present whatever information, right? Or to reassure them that you had their back. I think Gabbie failed in that. But I do think it was a trend to talk about her, right? Like, say for instance, if I met iDubbbz once or twice, if I made a video making it seem like we were best of friends and give you a list of things that he did that were horrible, that we can't actually prove or connect to him, I still think that would be dead ass wrong. Even though I cover iDubbbz, but I'm honest and I'm here for the jokes and the slop. I'm not here to try to like connect to any story and do all of these things. It happens every time. And people be lying. And like Adam McIntyre is one of the biggest ones, bro. He gets a lot of clout because he's like this victim and leaves out a lot of information. Right? D'Angelo Wallace takes down videos where he's blatantly slandering people. But because he was talking about somebody that you didn't like, people ignore it. That's all I'm saying. It's like, it don't have to be pick a side. Both sides could have done something that's wrong. Being worried about clout instead of what happened to you is kind of crazy. That's my opinion. Tell me what yours is down in the comment section.